In my sermon from this pulpit several weeks ago, I noted that this year marks the 50th anniversary of the merger of the American Unitarian Association and the Universalist Church of America to form the Unitarian Universalist Association. Statistically, our denomination has been on the decline ever since. Why does the fate of Unitarian Universalism matter? It matters for two reasons. First, when people ask how to live a life of meaning and purpose in the modern world, whether they know it or not, they're asking a religious question. And it's one I believe that we as Unitarian Universalists are uniquely equipped to answer. And second, many practitioners of religion today are using faith not to enlighten, but to enslave. They are turning back the clock on the basic tenets of civilization itself, such as reason, knowledge, personal liberty, and human dignity. As Unitarian Universalists, we have the capacity to transform how people understand and experience religion in the modern world. Once freed from the belief in the magical, religion can actually become meaningful. In her sermon at my installation as Senior Minister of All Souls, Diana Eck, a professor at Harvard and one of the world's leading scholars of religion, said to us, "You are, in my estimation, the church of the new millennium. In this era, Unitarian Universalism is not the lowest common denominator, but the highest common calling. You do have a mission. The world is in need of your theology." Later this month at General Assembly, which is what we call our denomination's national convention, I will deliver two presentations under the title, The Church of the New Millennium. The first carries the somewhat provocative subtitle, A Formula for Failure, and it will describe why we might not be or become the Church of the New Millennium. The second presentation bears the subtitle, A Scenario for Success, and it will describe how we can. In my sermon several weeks ago, I previewed the first presentation by suggesting how Unitarian Universalism could fail to fulfill its religious promise and thus continue to become less and less. We will fail, I said, if we turn out to be spiritual but not religious. When people describe themselves as spiritual, they usually intend to embrace certain kinds of personal experience, but to reject religious dogma and religious institutions. They do this for good reason, since religious dogma and religious institutions often stand in the way of personal spiritual experience. In traditional terms, religion has usually been understood as a set of beliefs based on a scripture and compiled into a creed. Such beliefs make for heavy dogma and inflexible institutions. The liberal tradition in theology insists that religion is not primarily a set of beliefs. Rather, religion is first and foremost a way of life. In my view, religion is the collection of external forms that constitutes this way of life. Sacred spaces where we find refuge, music to gladden our spirits, stories to renew our courage, symbols to remind us of commitments we have made, and daily rituals to renew our resolve. In this sense, if we are to be truly spiritual as individuals, we must at some point become religious. And religion happens within a community of faith. If we never become religious, our spirituality may continue to nourish us as individuals, but it's unlikely to nourish those around us nor those who come after us. If we are spiritual but not religious, our way of life will fade into oblivion. This morning I wish to preview my second presentation at General Assembly by saying more about how our faith can reverse the trend and become more and more. I believe that as we meet the pervasive need for meaning and purpose in the modern world, our numbers will grow as well. In my view, our destiny as a denomination hangs on whether we can become a religious community. Last weekend, my wife Holly and my daughter Zoe and I traveled to Portland, Oregon for a reunion of Holly's family of origin. Like many families, Holly and her siblings have scattered over a significant swath of the globe: Manhattan, Portland, Anchorage, and Honolulu. Like most families, the Atkinson clan has been divided by divorce. Holly's parents split up 30 years ago, and 2 of the 4 siblings are divorced, and supplemented by subsequent relationships. Some of the supplements showed up in Portland. Zoe and I were there. And others did not. Holly's brother's girlfriend lives on Reunion Island, which lies off Madagascar in the Indian Ocean, and Holly's niece's boyfriend plies a salmon boat in the Bering Sea. I was reminded of a poem by Meredith Marin, which both lampoons our sometimes convoluted family situations, but also states clearly what we need to focus on within them. It is titled Family Reunion. The divorced mother and her divorcing daughter. The about-to-be ex-son-in-law and the ex-husband's adopted son. The divorcing daughter's child, who is the step-nephew of the ex-husband's adopted son. Everyone cordial, the ex-husband's second wife friendly to the first wife, warm to the divorcing daughter's child's great-grandmother, who was herself long ago divorced. Everyone grown used to the idea of divorce. Almost everyone has separated from the landscape of childhood. Collections of people in cities are divorced from clean air and stars. Toddlers in daycare are parted from working parents. School children from the assumption of unbloodied day-long safety. Old people die apart from all they've gathered over time and in strange beds. Adults grow estranged from a God evidently divorced from history. Most are cut off from their own histories, each of it which waits like a child left at daycare. What if you turned back for a moment and put your arms around yours? Yes, you might be late for work. No, your history doesn't smell sweet like a toddler's head, but caress your history. Who else will? Promise to come back later. Pay attention when it asks you simple questions. Where are we going? Is it scary? What happened? Can I have more now? Who is that?